as entrepreneurs, we face all kinds of challenges. We've got to deliver a great experience or product. We also have to be able to get a steady stream of more people, clients and customers who want to raise their hand and explore working with us. And what we hear as entrepreneurs over and over again is we should use social media. Well, today I've got an unbelievable expert who is going to show you how to use social media in an area that most of us don't know. And the thing that I like, there's all kinds of social media experts. Aaron isn't a social media expert. He's an entrepreneur, and he's going to share with you how over the last few years his partners and he have built an unbelievably successful drink business and much more, and how you can do it in your business no matter what your business is. Stay tuned.
Ordinary success? No way. You want amazing, remarkable, exceptional breakthroughs. Dig deep, think bold, drive hard, watch yourself soar beyond your dreams. AESNation.com.
Aaron Hinde, yeah, I so appreciate to have you here. The last time we were together, we were on the golf course, and you were giving me so many great ideas that I had to share them with our fellow entrepreneurs. So first of all, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, John. You know, I've got the utmost respect for you as a human being and as a businessman, so I'm thrilled to be here today.
Well, you know, I mean, we're on the golf course. You and your partner were just sharing with me so many things, and I didn't have a notepad, and we normally don't talk that much business, but I kept on peppering you because, you know, really when we first met a few years ago, you were doing just a few $100,000 in a drink business, kind of a specialty business, and you know, I know how competitive that is, and I'm going, geez, you know, nice guys. And then you tell me you're going to really build it on social media. Then you tell me you're going to sell it online. I'm going, oh no.
Yeah, recipe for disaster. Right?
Well, and you know, you're doing $6 million a year, and now on your way to 10 million and much more. I mean, with the platform you're building. Yeah. And so before we go into how you did this, because I know every entrepreneur, including me, wants to know. I mean, I'm in financial services, and you know, but so many lessons you shared with me on the golf course, I've already started putting some of them in place. You'd be proud of me. I even opened up an Instagram account. I mean, you know, I didn't even know what that was. So we're going to talk about we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different animals that many of you really probably haven't done, or if you are a veteran, you're going to hear some different ways of doing it. But Aaron, before we dive into it, give me a little bit of background of you and, you know, starting the company, because, you know, my guess is that, you know, that wasn't your dream, you know, to start a drink company at 4 type thing. You know, how did this all come about?
You know, I've always been an entrepreneur and had a lot of learning experiences, as we say. We don't use failures. We have learning experiences along the way. You know, right out of college, I learned I couldn't work for the man. I had a job working for the government for about a year. That didn't work out so well. So went back, and I actually was a very successful chiropractor here in Scotts Valley in Santa Cruz County for about 10 years. But you know, always had the wheels turning on ways to get away from a fee-for-service model and do something on a much grander scale. And in 2011, my business partner and I started Life Aid Beverage Company. I think it's Dan Sullivan that says it's a combination of passion and ignorance or something like that. But it was definitely the case for us. We were very passionate about bringing healthy drinks to the masses, but ignorant on what it would take to do so and the challenges that we would encounter, and the fact that, you know, our industry has over a 99% failure rate. So I'm glad we didn't quite know all that when we first started, but thankfully we've gotten quite a bit of traction as of late.
So tell me, you know, you guys did this very different. I mean, normally what you're doing is you're fighting to get grocery store shelves. You've kind of differentiating yourself, you know, from the, you know, whether it's energy drinks or soda pop or this or that. You know, how did you try to fit into this really crowded space?
Yeah, great question. 2 years ago, we were following the traditional model, and the traditional model is just as you mentioned. In beverage, you're typically paying, big money to buy shelf space. You're paying for territory managers. You're paying for sampling events. And the challenge there is when people walk into a 7-Eleven, they're in there for 30 seconds. They know exactly what type of drink they want to grab for. And so to get somebody's attention in that short time span on a new product is very challenging. I think that's why there's such a high failure rate. Kind of enter my first meeting with the 25K group where we first met. I started talking with people like yourself and some others about some of the challenges that we were encountering. And the first piece of advice that I got, the first takeaway was, choose a single target market. And as you know, we have 3 drinks on the market. So we had kind of 3 separate businesses going. So we looked at, which one appeared to have the most legs at the time and really focused our market towards our Fit Aid line and specifically the growth of CrossFit around that specific drink.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought that was so brilliant. I mean, one of the things you try to take on the whole world, and as entrepreneurs, it's easy to start doing that. The negative is there's some big players that are already got the world, and to try to carve that out, on a big, but attaching yourself, to filling a missing need in a growing business. I mean, really arbitraging that a bit and getting very focused. And CrossFit, many of you know, is an extremely successful, very fast-growing gym and really lifestyle. And Aaron, if I remember correctly, they didn't have really, they don't produce any drinks or anything, and they recommend a certain type of diet, and you went out and did a little bit of research on what would serve that market and brought in some top researchers and actually created a drink specifically for them.
We did. We really wanted to focus in on that market, what the needs for those athletes that participated in CrossFit were, what type of supplements they were already taking. So as you mentioned, it really does help that we were involved in really writing an expanding category in this functional fitness category in CrossFit. The growth has been phenomenal in CrossFit as a whole. They have over 10,000 gyms now. They're growing by 150 new gyms a month. I don't think any gym chain in the country is growing that rapidly right now.
And so as entrepreneurs, one of the things that Aaron and his partner did is they really found, a niche that was underserved. And one of the best things is they were already, one of the things we talk about a lot at AES Nation, it's the AES is accelerating entrepreneurial success. And boy, whether you're a startup or whether you're an established company, creating strategic partnerships can be really valuable, but also they don't have to be formal agreements. By, providing a missing element, you can really capture that additional part. Now, so you've got this great drink, and it really serves this market. Okay, there's 2 things you got to do. Is you got to nail the client experience or product. You guys did.
Yep.
The next thing is you have to scale it up because, if nobody knows about it, and that's what happens in so many business applications, then nothing happens. How did you make, the CrossFit gyms or, the individuals? I mean, who's your target market, and how are you getting that message out to them?
Sure, great question. As we know, the only thing that matters is sales. So if the product doesn't sell, then you don't have much of a business to stand on. And those sales are all driven by the marketing behind it. So, our marketing strategies, we use a lot of direct response marketing, direct outreach to these CrossFit boxes, they're called, or CrossFit gyms. And we also do a lot of online sales, and we've put quite a bit of focus on social media, which, I was actually, quite frankly, opposed to a few years ago. I'm looking at it going, well, what's the point of, quote unquote, building a brand? I want to focus on sales. And we've really, my mind has changed on this one, as we've talked about in the past, because there's ways to really monetize social media. So I think if you're not putting some time and effort into social media and understanding what that's all about, it really has created the new celebrity.
Well, and Aaron, talk about, because one of the things that you helped clarify for me is that you're really not selling a drink. It's a lifestyle. I mean, trying to sell a drink, holding a picture, can of one of your drinks on an Instagram or, posting on Facebook, it's not going to happen. But you've made it a whole lifestyle type, and it's like, geez, I want. It's a little, Budweiser has done that, and other major brands have done that. You want to be part of that lifestyle.
Right. And I know, as a small business, creating a quote unquote brand it can be very challenging, and most people don't recommend it. Most marketers don't recommend it because it's very expensive to do so. At least it used to be. If you're following traditional media, television, radio, celebrity endorsements, that's a very expensive proposition to become the next Coke or Pepsi or Red Bull or other brands like GoPro, so on and so forth. Nike, another good example of a huge brand. Now, would we all want to be those brands? Of course we would. Now, how with the new tools available to us business people, entrepreneurs, and marketers, how can we utilize these new tools to develop a brand? And social media is a great way to do so. So, for instance, we started a social media and Instagram account for our FitAid line. FitAid is the line that we've really put most of our effort and focus into, and it's the line that's catering to the CrossFit market. Well, CrossFit as a whole, as we already talked about, is this massively growing market. Lots and lots of new athletes and people participating in CrossFit coming on board. So it was a growing market. So we started an Instagram account catering to that specific market. Now, what a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs will do is they're constantly pitching. So they're going, oh, well, I'm going to take on a Facebook account or an Instagram account so I can pitch my products. And that is really the exact opposite thing that you should be doing. You should be focusing on providing engaging quality content, number one, and building out your audience. And then once you have a following in your audience, it's very easy to turn the switch on that and start monetizing that audience and that following. I mean, it's really the new celebrity. You think about it, in the old days, you had a hit movie as an actor, you had a hit song as a musician, and unless you had another hit, 6 months or a year, a couple years later, your celebrity status kind of goes and it fades away. You look at the new celebrities on these social media platforms, their audience grows and it grows and it grows and it grows. They don't tend to lose those people because they're engaged with you on a daily basis. They've become to know you on a personal level. So they've come to know us, our audience, as a brand and what we stand for by 6 images that show up on a screen when they pull up our Instagram account.
Yeah, I love it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to flash the Instagram where, just showing, all these people dressing up with your swag, dressing up as cans of FitAid. All these top
We've
athletes.
had somebody get a FitAid tattoo now, John. So anybody out there that gets a FitAid tattoo, we will pay for that tattoo if they want to do so.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, and so, I'm not sure I'm ready to do that in my financial services, go to the tattoo route. But, the really thinking through how you can leverage social media. And then the other thing is really thinking outside the box because, drinks, no matter what kind of drinks, they're heavy, they're liquid, and liquids have weight. And one of the things I was thinking, Aaron, you're doing direct response, and I'm going, okay, so you inspire people, and I want to try it out. I got to run to my store, and you don't have, you're not doing the big pay-to-play type thing.
Right.
So how do I get this? And then you told me what you were selling per day on this now, and it's like, whoa. So how did that come about, deciding to do, making it cost effective and profitable to do online sales of drinks? Because I'd never bought a drink before you guys online.
Yeah. Well, kind of two parts. The first part, on the social media strategy, I mean, we usually follow a 90-10 rule. So we want to provide 90% of our content is engaging quality content. And it's not just us pitching the product, buy our product, or images of the product. It's engaging content that's applicable to our core community, our target market there. Now, as far as the logistics, most people, all of our advisors, and we have some of the top advisors in the beverage industry on our team, said there's a zero chance you can sell a drink online. Nobody's ever done it. It's not possible because it's an impulse buy, like we discussed earlier. Well, we've been able to have very successful days online. I mean, we'll do, some days we'll do $20,000 in online drink sales. Well, how do we do that? We continue to grow these social media communities. I think our FitAid Instagram on its own is close to 50,000 active engaged followers now. And because we're providing so much quality content, we have pretty rapid growth there, and we focus on 10x growth of our social media accounts every year. So because we're providing so much quality content, we do throw a pitch in there. We'll throw a pitch every say 9 or 10 posts. One post will be, hey, try FitAid for free. We'll give you 2 free cans if you go to this landing page and just pay USPS shipping on it. So that's our irresistible offer. That's our hook. And so people are like, well, gosh, yeah, this looks interesting. A lot of people are engaged. It seems like a lot of people that I associate with in this community, in this ethos, are buying this drink, so I should check out what it's all about. Well, instead of having to write a $60, $70 check for a case of drinks, we offer 2 free cans, or we'll send CrossFit gyms a 4-pack of drinks. So we try to eliminate that initial barrier to entry, and the product is so good, and then, as you know, that has to be a given. The product's got to be outstanding. It speaks for itself that once we get a can into somebody's hand, we know we're focused on lifetime value. We know we're going to have a customer for life.
And then the other thing I love about how you're doing the community building is you're finding, people in the community, not the big celebrity type, TV star endorsement, but it's somebody in that community that other people respect and want to, be like, and then they're becoming, really a player with you and your team.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you could go out and say, okay, well, I want to get Brad Pitt endorsing my product, or I want to get, some A-tier football player or baseball player. Well, look, that's fine, but if you look at your niche, and if you've really narrowed to a single target market and looked at your target market, there are celebrities that exist in your target market that aren't celebrities that everybody on the street knows. Only people in your market know. So you can get those type of celebrities on board that have their own communities that overlap quite a bit with your community for a fraction of what, say, an A-tier celebrity would cost. A lot of times, we got a lot of people on our team for product only. They're happy to get a free case a month from us, which we're happy to provide because they're bringing in their social communities and their audience and to participate in our growth. So it's really a win-win. We're promoting them and they help promote us. We always look for those synergistic type of relationships, which you can find very efficiently on social media.
I want to encourage all of us as entrepreneurs to think. I mean, we're going, okay, well, Aaron does drinks are different. I'm in selling widgets, or I'm doing professional services. And really that ability to build this community is just so amazing. I mean, this is why I love direct response. I mean, Aaron and I met at 25K, which is a Genius Network mastermind group Joe Polish holds. And there's so many great direct marketers. And Aaron and I both went. I started a little earlier, but we both went for one reason. We wanted to see what the best of the direct marketers are doing, because then we can go ahead and use it in our application, whatever our business model is. And I tell you what I love about you and your partner, Aaron, is that you guys, execute. I mean, you went out and, what were some of the things that, were hard lessons learned during this period? I mean, you went, all of a sudden, you're an idea with a little bit attraction. I mean, I'm thinking those few $100,000, there's your mom and dad and a few other people buying your drinks. But, then now you're really, you're a sizable business, you're growing. I know you're getting interest from, outside beverage companies because they're looking at you and what's going on. But, what were some of the missteps that you would advise your fellow entrepreneurs to, either not do or, test, but stop as quickly as the test isn't working?
Yeah. Well, number one, make sure you're thinking accurately about your market, not only the marketplace, the demand for your products or service, the timing of such. I mean, we have one of our lines, as you know, Golfer Aid. The reason why we chose to focus primarily on Fit Aid because Golfer Aid's a great product, and I think is going to see huge success in the future. Though
I
the
love it, and I drink
yeah.
it all the time, and it's I don't know if it's really improving my score, but I think it is. So I mean,
Well,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, when you feel
I do
good, you tend
yeah,
to play well.
yeah.
But it
I
was
do.
just a little. The timing's just a little early on that. I mean, now you look at the PGA Tour and you have younger guys that are very into health and fitness. You don't have kind of the overweight, stodgy, out of shape typical golfer. You can't compete anymore. So it was just that product's just maybe a year or two early. But it still continues to get some traction, but not the same growth trajectory as Fit Aid. So, thinking accurately about your market and about the timing. Number two, building out a great team. When we first started, we've always been kind of understaffed and scrambling to fill a position. Many people say, hire slow, fire quickly. You take your time on really making sure you have the right people. We've used a software called Top Grader, which has been very helpful in getting qualified candidates now on our team. So our whole team is just A tier and really providing huge value to our company. So that's been a huge lesson learned as well.
Yeah, and I really like. I think the Golf Aid and the Fit Aid. You knew the you tested those, and you let the market tell you. I mean, this is a big part of direct response. You can be a brilliant person, create a great product, and you've got to let the market tell you what's working. And when it's working, you nail it. Like Fit Aid, you scale it up, and that's what you've done. And it doesn't mean you don't continue. But you continue the other products, but you continue to test, how can you improve, lessons learned, and so on. And you guys have done a phenomenal job on that.
Yeah, and we're going to take these lessons learned with Fit Aid and the success of Fit Aid, and we've already started applying them to Golfer Aid and Party Aid with especially some of the social media strategies, and we're going to apply them to our next three lines that'll be launching next year as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, and then getting deep within the niches, building communities, very, very powerful. What would be the one big, aha moment that you've had as you and your partner have been kind of just, moving ahead on this? I mean, what went, that, kind of that breakthrough moment?
Yeah, I mean, one of our mutual friends, Ben Altadonna, has worked closely with us since the beginning. And, once we really got our first direct response marketing campaign, a full campaign, scripted out and we tested it and we're getting, not satisfactory results. And we tweaked on it. And with Ben's help, finally, when we got, a month where, we put $1 into the machine and it spit out $10, we were like, yes, that's it, So then we pushed all the chips into that and have been going full bore ever since.
But okay, so I mean, I think this is the one big lesson that I've learned too. That is so important is that you test small dollar amounts.
Right.
Because even though I don't know how you guys felt on that first campaign. I know with my team we've written some great campaigns of what we're doing, and this is going to hit, and it doesn't. And we have one big important business initiative. We just hit probably the 10th test, and quite honestly, the 9 before that were either just marginal rates of return. You push $1 and maybe $1 comes back, or $1 to 50 cents. And we just had one that did the $1 to 10, and it's whoa. So we're going to test it a couple more times, but then you push the chips in, because what happens is you own the slot machine basically, that when you put $1 in, you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And most people aren't, and one, they don't capture the data. 2, if they don't capture the data, they don't have the insights. But even if they capture the data, they don't, really test. Kind of classic A/B testing. And so, I mean, that's a great part. Now, how do you see, Aaron, really moving forward? Continuing to accelerate that, because one of the biggest challenges now is, as you're accelerating like that, it's kind of backfilling the challenges that come up.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's Peter Thiel that talks about, a PayPal founder talks about concentric circles. So that's one thing we've really focused on is concentric circles. I mean, if you look at, say, CrossFit, and again, we're not associated in any way with CrossFit corporate. We are just, providing a drink to that community. But what would be the next concentric circle? Maybe it's obstacle course racing with Spartan races and Tough Mudders and that type of thing. Maybe from there it's, bodybuilding or Olympic lifting. So you look at what are the concentric circles that we can go to next, that we can take these lessons learned and apply it to the next. We also have these other drinks. So we've been focused, say, with our Party Aid line on the electronic dance community, specifically Burning Man type community, right? So, once we get that core, what's the next circle out from there and there and there? Eventually, the goal is to be in all the grocery stores and 7-Elevens, but have the mom going down the grocery store aisle going, oh, hey, I'm going to get a Focus Aid for my husband for his corporate job. I'm going to get a Party Aid because my daughter's, getting into her sorority this week. I'm going to get a Golf Aid for my son on the golf team. I'm going to get a Fit Aid for, myself and for my gym workout. So we want to have a beverage line, a niche beverage line that really talks to everybody. So that's kind of that broader approach that we've been staying away from, but by virtue of dominating enough niche categories, eventually that equates to being broad, and that's the end goal.
No, and it's a powerful one because they're all tied together, and the lessons learned from each can really make a difference. I want to switch gears a bit, and let's go to the book of the day.
Sure.
So what would be, as a successful entrepreneur and a number of businesses now just, really taking off and delivering great value to consumers, what would be a book that you would recommend to your fellow entrepreneurs that would help them?
Probably the book that I've recommended, more than any other single book. And I'm a econ business major, so we used to call our friends that were psych majors pre-unemployment, so we were pretty hard on kind of psychology and all of that in undergrad. Now that I'm more of a marketer, I realize that it's all psychology, so it's probably the most important thing. So the book that had the greatest influence on me and the way that I do things is called Influence by Robert Cialdini. The Psychology of Ethical Persuasion. And, we do things in our lives and how we interact with people that have consequences and byproducts, and some of those aren't intended. And I think this book really helps you start thinking about how you interact with people, and so that you have positive byproducts and positive consequences, not negative, for things as simple as if someone says thank you very much and you saying, oh, no problem, discounting that compliment instead of saying, you're welcome, or you're welcome, I'm sure you do the same thing for me. I mean, little basic psychological triggers.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the best marketing books ever written. It's just, and I think there's 6 lessons or something like that, and I can't remember them. I'd say them right now. I have most of them in my mind, but it's something that should be read and reread and reminded, because we get, once we start having success as entrepreneurs, we actually think we understand our market so well, and we get the data, but we can never forget the behavioral issues, psychology around consumer demand in our marketplace, and this is some of the greatest research on it.
Yeah, I mean, getting into the mind of your client, your prospect, your customer is key. I mean, if you can relate with them, if you can take on their thought process, you're going to be successful in that market. I mean, that's why we chose Fit Aid, Golf Aid, and Party Aid, because we know those 3 markets intimately. I wouldn't choose Runner Aid because I'm not a runner.
No, that's great. Let's go to the next application. And it's the application of the day. Is there something that you're using, Aaron, that you'd like to share with other, your fellow entrepreneurs?
Sure. As we continue to grow and scale this becomes more and more moving parts, and as the entrepreneur, my business partner and I, Orion, always want to focus on, how can we make the next 10x move to our business, not the minutia of running the business that a lot of us get bogged down on. So we've implemented a program called Asana over the last months, and it's been really good and it's similar to a free camp or a base camp type of thing, but it just was a lot more intuitive for us. We tried several different programs, and this one has really seemed to stick on organizing tasks and just making our team more on point, more efficient, more accountable. Yeah. ASANA, I believe.
And I'm going to put up the screenshot again. This is their website, but for those of you listening to the podcast versus the video one, it's ASANA. And as always, you can just go to aesnation.com, get all the show links, the transcription, and everything else, and all kinds of free bonuses and so on that will be very useful. But let's go to the next segment. And this is resources. And I'm going to pull up, Aaron, your website, and I'm going to go to FitAid. And what are they going to see here? I'm going to put it up on the screen. I see all kinds of flashing images, some people that are in much better shape than me, and all kinds of cases and swag stuff here.
Okay, so if you go to drinkfitaid.com, you'll see a few things that I think everyone should have on their site. The first thing is, some mechanism for lead capture. So you'll see a pop-up that comes on, win a free supply of FitAid for a year for your first name, email, and area code. Okay, zip code. So the reason why we are doing that, and we add about 100 new contacts, new leads a day from that offer, is so we can market to those people. So many people, if you're getting traction, just like on social media, you need to have a strategy or a plan around monetizing that traction. So that's one of our strategies there, and it's been very successful. You'll have a spot on that website for referrals. So if you're an athlete and want to refer your gym, you have a means to do so, and we reward you in doing so there. You're going to see lots of testimonials from A-tier athletes in our space, and obviously plenty of chances to purchase product. We have bailout pages, so if you're on our buy page and you don't decide to make a buying decision there, then you'll be given the irresistible offer of 2 free cans from there. So we try to think through, and it's a continual, as you know, evolving process of improving and tweaking, and one little change in a headline here, one little tweak there can really yield exponentially improved results. So you always got to be testing and tweaking on things.
No, this has been really good, Aaron. Let me give you kind of the next segment. I want to share with you what I'm taking away. Key takeaways that I'm walking, there's so many of them. I've got a whole bunch of notes here. And the very first thing, particularly if you're early stage, it's focusing on top line. It's driving sales. And let the market tell you, what's working, because you can come in with all kinds of preconceived notion. You can have a really thick business plan. I've started a number of businesses. I have never had it turn out like the business plan. Sometimes it's blown by, other times it's a lot less, but the market has pointed me in a different direction. So focus on the top line. Second, think outside the box. Do not try to outcompete the big players. You don't have the money, you don't have the capital. I don't care if you're well venture funded. You don't have the money to do that. How can you do something that they're not doing or not doing well that fits into your culture? And you guys have done that in spades in the social media side, building that community, and then really believe in data. Let the market tell you from the standpoint of data. And data, it's not only just sales, but it's all the interactions. You heard from Aaron just on the website, the richness of going through and looking at those little tweaks. This is important real estate. You get the social media, you get the email campaigns, they're building up these huge following. You've got to create that communication, but then also that interaction. And the data tells you what's working. And so often we get the data and we don't use it. Aaron, I want to thank you again for taking the time from building an unbelievable company, a remarkable company, to share your insights with your fellow entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, John. And it's not only the things that you've mentioned, but it's also the advisors that we've had on this journey. And I would consider you one of our advisors. I mean, I thank you for helping steer this ship in the right direction. Because if it wasn't for people like you, we wouldn't have the success we're experiencing now. So, people that from outside of our industry have given us the best advice on how to be successful in our industry.
And I want to point out, I'm not on the board of directors, not compensated in any way, but what Aaron has done is really what I believe you should do too, is be part of masterminds. Create your own group of advisors, that are friends of the firm that you can turn to get unbiased advice. All of us have bias, whatever our environment that we grow up in, but getting outside of your industry to get that is just so valuable. And that's really why we created AESNation.com as a virtual mastermind to do this, but also do it in your local market. With that, Aaron, I want to thank you again. I want to, all of us take these actions. Go to AESNation.com. Make sure you're getting our newsletter. Download the special reports. Get the show notes. Get the links. Take action. Your clients, your future clients, all those strategic partners, those fellow mastermind group, they're all counting on you. Don't let them down. Wish you the best of success.
Thank you. You as well.
Exceptional, remarkable breakthroughs. AESNation.com.